Good evening, children.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, children. I hope we have all completed the assignment which was given to you on Sunday. Have we tried the assignment which was given on Sunday?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let's see the answers to the assignment. This is the assignment I posted, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So in the assignment, this fourth question was not complete. I had not given the 4 options. So you might have not done the fourth one. The fourth one here. All right, let's see the answers from the beginning. So the first question, identify the algebraic linear equations from the given expressions. So you need to identify the linear equations, algebraic linear equations from the given expressions. So tell me, the first one, x squared plus x is equal to 2. Is it linear? What is the variable involved here? What is the variable?
Squared and x.
No, what is the variable involved in the equation?
X.
X. Now, here in the first term, what's the power of x? In the first term, what's the power of x?
2.
2.
And in the second term, what's the power of x? In the second term here,
1.
x. Yeah, the power of x
1.
is 1.
1.
Which is the highest power? 2 or 1? Which is the
2.
highest power? 2. Which means this equation is a quadratic equation. When the highest power is 2, when the highest power is 2, the equation is said to be a quadratic equation. I repeat, now in the equation x squared plus x is equal to 2, the variable involved is x. The variable involved is x. Now we need to look at the powers of the variable x. Now in the first term, the variable x is raised to the power 2. In the second term, the variable x is raised to the power 1. We are interested only in the powers of the variables. Here there's only one variable x. So here in the first term, the power of the variable is 2. In the second term, the power of the variable is 1. The highest power is 2. Between 2 and 1, the highest power is 2. Which means the equation is a quadratic equation. The equation is a quadratic equation. See the next one. In fact, you can even solve this equation. You can bring this. You don't have to solve it. Actually, here the heading is not to solve. You just have to identify which of the following is a linear equation. You don't have to solve it. I'm just trying to say that you can simplify 5 and 11. 5 and 11 can be simplified. You can simplify this equation. However, what is the variable here? X. What's the power of x?
1.
1. Not the coefficient, children. Don't get confused with the coefficient and the power. Do not get confused with the coefficient and the power. The coefficient of x is 3. The power of x is 1. The coefficient of x is 3. The power of x is 1. So the power of x is 1. And the highest power is 1 because there's only one term with the variable x. There is only one term. See, this is the only term with the variable x and its power is 1. The power of x is 1. So when the power of x is 1, the highest power again being 1, the equation is a linear equation. The equation is a linear equation when the highest power of the variable when the highest power of the variable is 1, the equation is said to be a linear equation. Look at this one. 5 plus 7 is equal to 12. You don't see any variable there. The statement is true. 5 plus 7 is equal to 12 is a statement which is true. You do not see any variable there. So the statement is true. You cannot call it a linear or a quadratic equation because you cannot see any variable there. X, Y, or Z. You cannot see any variable there. The statement is true. That's it. So now A is a quadratic equation. B is a linear equation. What about D? 5 plus 7 is equal to 12 is just an equation. It's a statement which is true. That's all. Since we do not have the variables X, Y, or Z, you cannot classify as linear, quadratic, and so on. How many variables do you see in the last one? In option D, how many variables?
Two variables.
Yeah, so there are two variables. In option D, we have two variables X and Y. We have two variables X and Y. What's the power of X?
1.
What's the power of
1.
Y?
2.
2.
2. What's the highest power? Between
2.
1 and 2.
2.
The
Why
highest
2?
power is 2. Yes, so it's a quadratic equation in two variables X and Y. The first one is a quadratic equation in one variable X. The first one, option A, is a quadratic equation. Option A, look at option A, children. Look at option A. Option A is a quadratic equation in one variable X. It's quadratic because the highest power of the variable is 2. So it's quadratic. It's a quadratic equation in one variable X. While option D is a quadratic equation in two variables X and Y. In two variables X and Y. So now which of A, B, C, D is a linear equation, children? Which among A, B, C, D is a linear equation?
B.
B, ma'am.
B. B. Why? Because the power of the variable is 1. The highest power of the variable is 1. So when the highest power of the variable involved is 1, it's a linear equation. Do we understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Had I shared the video explaining linear, quadratic, cubic equations? No? I shall send it. All right. So I repeat, in option A, there is only one variable X. In the first term, the power of X is 2. In the second term, the power of X is 1. The highest power is 2. When the highest power is 2, the equation is said to be a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. In option B, 3x has the variable x. 3x, this term 3x has the variable x and its power is 1. The power of x, the power of the variable x is 1. And that's the highest power because you find the variable x only in one place. The highest power is 1. So it's a linear equation. When the highest power of the variable is 1, it's a linear equation. Option C, you cannot classify as linear or quadratic because you don't see the variable xy there, x or y or any variable for that matter. The last one, we have two variables x and y. The power of x is 1. The power of y is 2. The highest power is 2. And if the highest power of the variable is 2, then it's a quadratic equation. And the last one is a quadratic equation in two variables x and y. How do we do this, children? Question number 2. Check whether the linear equation 3x plus 5 is equal to 11 is true for x is equal to 2. So what you should have done is you should take up the LHS, use x instead of x, use 2 because it's given that x is equal to 2. So when you use 2 here, LHS will be 3 into 2 plus 5, 6 plus 5, 11. What is the RHS? 11. So LHS is equal to RHS. LHS is equal to RHS, which means this equation is true for x is equal to 2. See here. See the answer here, children. You can see the answer down. I'll share the pictures with you later. You don't have to write down anything now. You can just see the answer here. Given that 3x plus 5 is, see the second one. 3x plus 5 is 11. So take up the LHS. In place of x, you use 2. So that gives you 6 plus 5, 11. RHS is also 11. So LHS is equal to RHS is equal to 11. So the given equation is true for x is equal to 2. All right. See the third one. Form a linear equation from the given statement. Form a linear equation from the given statement. When 5 is added to twice a number, it gives 11. I hope you all got this here. When 5 is added to twice a number, 2x, the answer is 11. Did we get this? 2x plus 5 is equal to 11. Yes, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The question is form a linear equation from the given statement. When 5 is added to twice a number, so we take the number as x, and when 5 is added to twice a number, so 2x plus 5, it gives us 11, so is equal to 11. See the fourth question here, the fourth one here. I had not given the option, so you might have not done this. If x is equal to a, if x is equal to a, this is given to you, x is equal to a is given to you, then which of the following is not always true for an integer k? Am I audible, children?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, yeah. So if x is equal to a, that means it's given to you. X is equal to a is given to you. Then which of the following is not always true for an integer k? See here. So we know, children, watch this carefully. Look at this carefully. Can you see x is equal to a, children? Can you see x is equal to a here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now what's happened? They've multiplied both the sides by k. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, see here, x is equal to a is the given equation. Please watch out for that. If x is equal to a, so you can see that x is equal to a here. Then what is this k on both the sides? They have multiplied both the sides with k. And who's k? K is any integer. Integer k, any integer. And you know the collection of integers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And their negatives, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. So the collection of all natural numbers, their negatives, including 0, forms the collection of integers. How do we describe the collection of integers? All natural numbers, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, goes on like that. All natural numbers, their negatives meaning the negative of 1 is -1, the negative of 2 is -2, the negative of 3 is -3, and so on, including 0. Integers are all natural numbers, their negatives, including 0. So that means you see 0 in the middle. To the right of 0, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. To the left of 0, you have -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on. These are the collection of integers. So what you see here is kx is equal to ak. That is, we know that x is equal to a. They have multiplied both the sides with k. Yeah, and we know that an equation you can add, you can multiply a given equation by any integer. You can multiply both the sides of an equation by any integer k. Now supposing now that x is equal to a, you can multiply both the sides by 5. 5x will be equal to 5a. You can multiply both the sides by minus 10. Don't we do that when we solve equations? Don't we take up the LCM and multiply every term in the LHS and every term in the RHS by that number, which is the LCM? So when you do that, you're not disturbing the equation. When you do the same operation on both the sides, when you do the same thing on both the sides, you're not disturbing the equation. So here the meaning is x is equal to a is the given equation. Both the sides are multiplied by k. It's true. You can multiply both the sides by any constant k. X into k, a into k is true. Let's look at the others and then come back to B. Now, x minus k is equal to a minus k. So here, x is equal to a is the equation. They've subtracted k from both the sides. It's fine. X is equal to a. They're doing the same thing on both the sides. Minus k on both the sides. In option A, they multiply by k on both the sides. True. In option C, they subtract k on both the sides. X is equal to a. They subtract k from both the sides. True. And in option D, k is added to both the sides. In option D, k is added to both the sides. True. Why is this false? That's because we know that division by 0 is not defined, because it's given that it's not always true for an integer k. When it is an integer, k can be 0. K can be 0. And we know that division by 0 is not defined. Division by 0 is not defined. Hence, this option is inappropriate. So all A is true, C is true, D is true. A cannot be true because when k is 0, it becomes meaningless. The equation becomes meaningless because division by 0 is not defined. X is equal. So in option A, x is equal to A. Both the sides are multiplied by k. In option C, x is equal to a. From both the sides, we take away k. We subtract k. In option D, we add k to both the sides. In option B, we divide both the sides by k. That would have been true, but it would have been true if k is any natural number. If k is any natural number, it would have been true. Because natural numbers are like 1, other than 0. I can put it like this. For anything other than 0, this would have been true. K should not be 0 because division by 0 is not defined. 5 by 0, 5 by 0, 6 by 0, any number by 0, division by 0 is not defined. So since k is given to be an integer, and that which means k can be 0. That means when k is 0, it will be like x by 0 and a by 0. But division by 0 is meaningless. So which means since that is false, the entire thing becomes false. X by k is equal to a by k is not always true. This is not always true because when k is 0, option B is not always true because when k is 0, division by 0 is not defined and hence option B is not always true. For any value of k other than 0, it is true. So, but the definition of k is given to be an integer here. Is given to be an integer. That means it can be 0. So option B is not always true. Supposing k was a whole number, or if it was given it's a a negative number, a negative integer or a positive integer. K should not take the value 0. So, but here by this definition, integer k, that means k can be 0. So when k is 0, division by 0 is not defined. So option B is not always true. That is, when it is not true, when k is 0, it is not true. So somebody please tell me the options again. What is happening in A? What's happening in option A? What is a given equation, children? What's the given equation, children?
Ma'am, we can add both the sides in the first option, ma'am, but in second option we cannot add because in division we cannot divide it by 0.
Very good. Please do me one help. Please answer this question. What is a given equation? What is the given equation?
Kx is equal
X
to
is equal
A, ma'am.
No. That is the option given. What is the given equation?
X is
X
equal to
is
A.
equal to A.
X is equal to A is the given equation. What do you see in option A? In option A, what do you see in option A?
K is added on both sides, ma'am.
No, darling, K is not added on both the sides. K is,
Multiplied in both sides.
yeah, both the sides are multiplied by K. Both the sides are multiplied by K. That is true. That's always true. Because you know what is 5 into 0? You can multiply by 0. What is 5 into 0? 0. Multiplication by 0 is defined. 10 into 0 is 0. But 10 by 0 is not defined. Okay, what do we see in option C, children? What do you see in option C? Explain option C. X is equal to A is the given equation. What has it changed? What has been done in option C? K is
Subtracted on both
subtracted.
sides.
Yeah, both the sides are subtracted by K. That is true. What about option D?
K is added on both sides.
K is added to both the sides. X is equal to A. K is added to both the sides. So you can add K to both the sides. You can subtract K from both the sides. You can multiply K to both the sides. But when you divide both the sides by K, you can. That is also true. You can divide both the sides by K. That is true. It's not true only when K is 0. And here it's given integer K. That means K can be 0. So this is not true when K is 0. So it's not always true. That's the question. See here. If X is equal to A, then which of the following is not always true? This is true. Option B is true, but it's not true when K is 0. Otherwise, it is true. Otherwise, it's true. It's not true when K is 0. So it's not always true. So the correct option is option B, children. So I'm not talking about the fifth one because solving equations, I'll share the answers. You can check it yourself. Yeah, 5 and 6. 5 and 6, I'll share the answers. You can check it for yourself. 7, 8. Yes, somebody tell me the equation for question number 9. Question number 9. Tell me the equation.
Ma'am, can I say, ma'am?
Yeah, sure, please.
2x plus 3x plus 4x is equal to 180 degrees.
180 degrees. That's the equation. Very good. Very good. What about the 10th one? That's right. Let the angles for question number 9. Let the three angles of the triangle be 2x degrees, 3x degrees, 4x degrees. And we know that the sum of the three angles of a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So 2x plus 3x plus 4x is equal to 180. Solving that, you can get the value of x. And once you get the value of x, you can find the angles 2x, 3x, and 4x. What about question number 10? I want the equations. Tell me the assumptions. How have you assumed the numbers? Anybody can answer?
Ma'am?
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, we can assume as x plus x. Number 1 is, the first value is x, and the second value is x plus 1 is equal to 11.
No, but nobody should prompt Raja. Have your book with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Please help yourself. I'll give you some time. Look into the book. I'll give you some time. You look into your book. You see what you've worked. Yeah, tell me now. You want some more time? I can wait for you. Yeah, now tell me, what is one number? Okay, anybody? What is one number? What's the other number? Yes, Raja, you can get back. If you're ready, you can get back, Raja. The question says the sum of two numbers is 11 and their difference is 5. The sum of two numbers is 11 and their difference is 5. Find the numbers. See, this is how we have understood word problems. So we need to divide the question into two parts. Use one part for assumption and the other part for constructing the equation. That's how we have understood. Read the word problem. What is the algorithm? How do you frame the equation? What are the steps to frame the equation? Read the word problem carefully. That is step 1. Understand the question. That is step 1. Step 2 is to divide the word problem into two parts. Divide the information given into two parts. Use one part of the information for assumption, for assuming. Let one number be this, let the other number be this. So use one part of the information for assumption and use the other to construct the equation. This is the rule. So now you must be clear. We have two things given to us. Sum of the numbers is 11. Difference is 5. So you can assume using difference 5 and construct the equation using sum is 11. Or you can assume using sum is 11 and construct the equation using difference is 5. So you need to be clear as to what you have done. Now I want you to answer me like this. You tell me that I have used the sum of the numbers 11 for assuming, and I have used the difference of the numbers for constructing the equation. Yes, I want, clear answers like that. Quickly, children. Why is the class quiet? Okay, children, also please tell me if you were not able to answer this question, tell me. Let's do it now. Why are we quiet?
Ma'am, let the number be x and y, ma'am. Adding number.
No. I want only one. You can do, you're right. You can take now. We are learning linear equations in one variable. You can work it using two variables. I'm not saying that's wrong. But you should not assume using only one variable x. I want it in one variable x.
Ma'am, then shall we say it as 2x?
Who's this?
Ma'am, Anish, ma'am.
Anish. So Anish is saying let one number be what?
Let one number be x.
Okay, the other number?
Ma'am, the other number be...
Ma'am, can I say, ma'am?
Yeah. Okay, Kirtana, tell me.
Let one number be x and another number be x plus 5.
Okay, now you should be more clear. Tell me more clear. I want you to add some more words.
Ma'am, can it?
Ma'am,
No, 1 minute. Let's just give Kirtana time to complete that. Yes, Kirtana. You're right. But I cannot completely agree with the words you've used. Let one number be is, but you need to use some prefixes. Let the dash number be x. Let the dash number be x plus 5. Fill in the blanks. Please fill up the blanks.
Let the first number be x and the second number.
No. Let the dash number be x. Let the dash number be x plus 5. Okay, now this is an open question. Yes, anybody else can fill this? You need to be specific in your assumption. Let the smaller number be x. Therefore, the larger number is x plus 5. Agree or disagree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you can be specific, be specific. Now, if you don't write smaller and larger, doesn't mean you will not get the answer. You will get the answer. That's a different thing. Even if you don't write, let the smaller number be, let the larger number be, you will get the answer. But you should be clear about what you are doing. So when you, so Kirtana has used the difference 5. The difference 5 for, Kirtana has used the difference 5 for the assumption. Difference is 5. So she's assumed let the smaller number be x. So when the difference is 5, the larger number has to be x plus 5 because the difference is 5. So the larger number is x plus 5. Now Anish, tell me, if I assume the larger number is x, what will be the smaller number, Anish? If I assume the larger number is x, what will be the smaller number?
Ma'am,
11.
What is it?
11.
No.
X minus 5.
Minus 5, ma'am.
X minus 5. X minus 5. So you can use the difference for assumption. You can use this difference. See, the information, one thing is sum is 11. It's about two numbers. Their sum is 11. Their difference is 5. So we are using the difference for assuming. Okay, we can use the difference for assuming. So the difference between the two numbers is 5. So if you say the smaller number is x, the larger number is x plus 5. If you say the larger number is x, then the smaller number is x minus 5 because the difference should be 5. Because when you assume the larger number is x, the smaller number should be less than that, right? So x minus 5. Now like this, you have the number. So we have used the difference. We have used the difference for assumption. Now how do you create the equation? Now going with Kirtana's assumptions, let the smaller number be x, the larger number be x plus 5. Now we have used the difference for assumption. What's the equation now?
X plus 5 is equal to 11.
11. Very good. So the sum of the two numbers, is 11. So you should now see, now we use the difference for assumption. Leave that. Now use the other one. Sum is 11. So x plus 5. The sum of the two numbers is equal to 11. You need to solve this equation and find the values of, and find the value of x and hence find the numbers. So here they've used using, okay, before I talk about this, 1 minute. Now I need to understand if you, if all of you got it. Anish, can you try again, Anish?
Which sum, ma'am?
The same sum. I want you to try the assumption. Tell me the assumption using the, in both this.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, at first we have to find let the smaller number be x, ma'am.
Very good.
And the larger number be x minus 5.
No, 1 minute. Let me
plus 5.
Oh, x plus 5. Okay, fine. So okay. So if the smaller number is x, the larger number is x plus 5. Then how else can you assume if the larger number is x?
If the larger number is x, we have to subtract it with 5.
Yeah, so the smaller number will be?
X plus 5.
No, if you add 5, it will become larger than x, right? 2x, see, you ask yourself, 2x, if you add 5, it will become bigger than x. Yeah.
Then we should subtract it.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah, so it will be x.
So
If the smaller number is x, the larger number is?
X plus 5.
Correct. If the large number is x, what is the smaller number?
X minus 5.
X minus 5. Now we have assumed. How will you construct the equation? The sum of the two numbers is 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now which are the two numbers? X and x plus 5 or x and x minus 5, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now add these two numbers. X, supposing you go with the assumption x and x plus 5. X plus 5 is equal to 11. That's the equation. Because the sum is 11. Add the two numbers and equate it to 11. You will get the value of x and hence you should find the two numbers.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Now children, in the working here, you will see a different method. That is taking the sum for assumption and the difference for constructing the equation. Now tell me, don't say you're getting confused. We have discussed all these in the class. Now let's recall. Now we'll just take a numerical example. Now supposing the sum of two numbers is 30. All right, the sum of two numbers is 30, 30. The sum of two numbers is 30, 30. One number is 8. What is the other number?
30 minus 8.
30 minus 8. Correct. So from the sum, if you subtract one number, you will get the other number. That's what we understand. The sum of two numbers is 30. I said the sum of two numbers is 30. Okay. Then if one number is 8, the other number will be the sum 30 minus one number 8. So 30 minus 8, which is 22. Now Anish, use the same idea and tell me, did you get this? What is the sum? 30. What is one number? 8. What's the other number? The sum 30 minus one number 8 will give the other number. Now Anish, use the same understanding and tell me if one number is x. What is the other number when you take the sum as 11? What's the other number?
11 minus 5.
No, why are you going to 5? Why are you going to the difference? We have to use only the sum. The sum of the two numbers is 11.
11 minus 6.
11 minus
X.
x. 11 minus x. If one number is x, the other number will be the sum 11 minus x minus one number. That's all it is. All right, children. You see it here. So in this case, you cannot make out which is smaller and larger. Because when one number is x, the other number is 11 minus x. You can't make out which is small, which is big. So anything could be the smaller number and the larger number. So if you can write in any order. Now you need to construct the equation using the difference. The difference is 5. The difference of the two numbers is 5. It's given here. Using the sum, we have assumed. Now using the difference, we are going to construct the equation. So see, you can see one number here, x. You can see the other number here, 11 minus x. The difference minus is equal to 5. See, the difference is 5. Can you see? The difference is 5. That means one number minus the other number. This is one number x. The other number is 11 minus x. Their difference, that is minus, is equal to 5. Be careful, you should open the bracket. So x, why should you write 11 minus x in a bracket, children? Why should we write 11 minus x in a bracket?
Ma'am, because there is a constant. We cannot subtract or multiply a variable with a constant.
No. Why have we enclosed 11 minus x in a bracket? Why have we enclosed 11 minus x in a bracket? Because in 11 minus x, in this expression, there are two terms. And when you're finding the difference, see one number minus the other number. Whenever there is a minus sign, and after that, the expression has two terms. That means you should enclose it in a bracket because the minus has to be applied to both the terms. If you don't put the bracket, you will use the minus only for 11. 11 minus x, this expression has two terms. And here it is one number minus the other number, minus the other number. That expression for the other number has two terms. So always put it in a bracket because the minus is to be applied for both the terms in the expression. So one number minus the other number is equal to 5. Solve this equation and find the value of x and hence find the two numbers. So once you find x is one number and 11 minus 8, that is x is 8, right? So 11 minus 8 is the other number. See now, in future, there should not be any doubt in assuming. When you're assuming using the difference, it will be x and x plus 5 or x and x minus 5. When you're assuming using the sum, if one number is x, the other number will be whatever is the sum, 11 minus one number minus x. Yeah, have we finished the 11th one is easy, consecutive numbers. Who can tell me? Raja, tell me how do we assume two consecutive numbers?
Ma'am?
Yes, yes, Raja, how do we assume two consecutive numbers?
Ma'am, x plus x plus 1.
Why did you say x plus 1? What are the numbers? Tell the numbers separately. X is one number, then the other number will be?
The other number will be x plus 1 is equal to 11.
No, why are you constructing the equation? You don't, no, just answer the question. Don't construct the equation. I only asked you in this, in question number 11, how do we assume the two numbers? How will you assume the two numbers? The two numbers are?
The two numbers are
x and?
X and, ma'am, what are you saying?
No. How do you assume two consecutive numbers?
X and in the bracket we have x plus 1, so that is one number.
Okay. So x and x plus 1. How do we assume the numbers x and x plus 1? Let one number be x, so the other number is x plus 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's all. That's what I was asking you. The
Yes,
two numbers are x and x plus 1. Now, how will you construct the equation?
Ma'am, x plus 1 is equal to 11, ma'am.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Yeah, what's the answer for the 12th one, children? Tell me your answer for the 12th one.
Ma'am, can I say, ma'am?
Yes.
So for the 12th one, we should take length as x and the breadth as 2/3 of x.
Okay.
And we should substitute in them in the perimeter of a rectangle, which is 2 into L plus B. So we'll get x is equal to 48.
X is equal to 48.
Yes, ma'am.
But perimeter is, how can the length be 48? When the perimeter is only 40. No, you meant the value of x is 48?
Yeah, ma'am.
Oh no, I'm like wondering how it can be 48 because length, if the length is 48, how can the perimeter be 40? All right, because I don't want to show you that slide because there are the other answers there. So, okay, fine. Let me, anybody else? The answer for the 12th one? I think since I posted on Sunday, some of us have not finished. Because I had mentioned before the next class on Saturday, I think. So you just left it like that. School online classes have started, children?
No, ma'am.
Then you had time. So when are your school classes starting?
Ma'am, for me, Devadashini on June 4.
June 4.
Ma'am, for me, June 7th, ma'am.
June 7th. Kirtana, June 7th, is it? Okay. Danya?
Ma'am, still they didn't inform for me, ma'am.
Oh my God. Okay, okay. Raja?
They didn't tell anything, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, fine. All right. Anish and Raja, both of you are from Montfort, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. All right, children. So, no, but then you all had time. You should have completed the assignment. All right. Yeah. So 12th one, Danya, you have not completed the assignment, is it?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. I think you're working as we are discussing, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I can make out that. All right.
Today I will complete and send to you, ma'am.
All right, dear. Fine, fine. Kirtana, you finished the assignment, is it?
Yeah, ma'am. Almost I completed, but I need to finish the word problems.
Okay, fine. Anyways, this discussion should be useful for you to complete the assignment also. All right, fine. So here the breadth of the rectangular plot. The breadth of the rectangular plot is 2/3 of its length. How do we assume? Let the length be. Because it's given in the breadth is what is given here. Breadth is 2/3 of its length. Breadth. Don't read all this. We know it's a rectangular garden. So breadth is, delete all these words. Don't read all this. Of a rectangular garden. Don't read all that. Breadth is 2/3 of its length. And we know of means into. Length. We don't know the length. So let the length be x. So the breadth will be 2/3 into x. See, you can get everything from the question. Please see again. Just remove this. Oh, of a rectangular garden, just delete that. Read the question. The breadth is 2/3 of its length. So if the length is x, what is the breadth? 2/3, that is 2/3. Of meaning into, of means into, length is x. So 2/3 x, 2/3 x or 2x/3 is the breadth. It's there only. Breadth is. What is the breadth? You're asking what is the breadth? Breadth is this one. This is the breadth. So what is the breadth? Breadth is 2/3 into x or 2x/3. So you know the length. You know the length is. You have assumed the length is x and the breadth is 2x/3. You know the formula to find the perimeter. 2 into L plus B is equal to 40. Substitute and find the value of x and hence find the length and breadth of the garden. Now 13th one is important. The difference between two positive numbers is 40. The difference between two positive numbers is 40. Now again, tell me, how do we assume the two numbers? The difference is 40. Children.
Ma'am, can you repeat it once again?
No, see, I'm talking about the 13th question. In question number 13, how do we assume the two numbers?
3x and x.
3x and x. Okay, then after that, how do you construct the equation?
3x minus x is equal to 40.
Very good. 3x minus x is equal to 40. So 2x is equal to 40. X is equal to 40 by 2, 20. All right. So what I was trying to tell you is now who is this? I think Keetana. So she's assumed using the ratio. She's assumed using the ratio. Ratio is 1:3. So let the numbers be 1x and 3x. Let the numbers be 1x, that is x, and 3x. 1x and 3x. And it's given that the difference is 40. So in between 1x and 3x, which is the greater number? Between 1x and 3x, which is the greater number? 3x is the greater number. 1x, 3x. 3x is the greater number. So you must write 3x minus 1x is equal to 40. Equation. Difference is 40. See, we always, here there are two things. One is the ratio. The ratio is 1:3. The difference between the numbers is 40. So we have two things given to us. We have two things given to us. See here, the ratio of the two numbers is 1:3. That is one information. The other one is the difference between them is 40. The difference between the two numbers is 40. So if you use this for assumption, let one number be 1x, let the other number be 3x. If you use this for assumption, the equation is this one. Difference is 40. That means 3x minus x is equal to 40. Why? Because the greater number minus the smaller number is equal to 40. Now I want you all to tell me the assumption using the difference 40. Use the difference 40 and tell me how will you assume? Let the I want you to assume using the difference and construct the equation using 1:3. Yes, when the difference of two numbers is 40, how do we assume the numbers? We just finished, no, in the 10th one. We understood the same thing in the 10th one.
Ma'am, 3x and x, ma'am.
No, that's over. I'm asking you if we have to use the difference of the two numbers for assumption. Use this one for assumption. How will you assume? I want you to assume using 40 and construct the equation using 1:3. Yes. The same thing, children. Let the smaller number be x. So the greater number will be. If the smaller number is x, the greater number will be.
40 plus x.
X plus 40. If the greater number is x, what's the smaller number?
40 minus x. X minus.
Oh. X minus 40, not 40 minus x. X minus 40. No, I don't know. You have to tell me that only then I can proceed. When the difference is given, see, where is it? The difference of the two numbers is 40. So when one number is x, that is when the smaller number is x, the larger number will be x plus 40. If the larger number is x, the smaller number will be x minus 40. Just repeat that, one of you. I hope all of you pinned my window on your screen. Don't forget to do that. All of you pin my window. Don't see all your friends' window on your screen. Pin my window alone. Below my window, you can see the 3 dots. Not below my window. In my window, bottom corner, you can see 3 dots. Tap on that. Pin my window. So you will see only on your screen, you should see only my window. Yes, I have not got the answer from you.
Ma'am, when the smaller number is x, the greater number will be 40 plus x, ma'am.
It's
And
not
when
40 plus x, it's x plus 40.
x plus 40, when the greater number is x, the smaller number is x minus 40.
Yeah, very good. Now, the ratio here is 1:3. The ratio is 1:3. That means the smaller number by the greater number is equal to 1/3 because the ratio is 1:3. So to construct the equation, you must say the smaller number divided by the greater number is equal to 1/3. Yeah, you can see the answers here. I did not show the answers, like as soon as we discuss the question, because you can see the other answers on the screen. Yeah, now see the 11th one, children. The 11th one, which we already discussed, 2 consecutive numbers, let them be x and x plus 1. And their sum is 11, and you solve and find the 2 numbers. And this perimeter, I think Keetna was telling me. So the breadth, assume the length to be x. The length of the garden is x meters. Length is x meters. So the breadth will be, it's given, breadth is 2/3 of its length is given. So breadth is 2 by 3 x. This is x meters, children. This is x meters. Its breadth is 2 by 3 x meters. Length is x meters. Length is x meters. Breadth is 2 by 3 x meters. Because 2/3 of its length, 2 by 3 into x. 2 by 3 x meters. And we know perimeter is 2 into L plus B. So 2 into length x plus the breadth. 2x by 3 is equal to 40. 2 into L plus B is equal to 40. Then work this. Here you can see they have multiplied 2 into x is 2x. 2 into 2 by 3x is 4x by 3. Then you solve by taking the LCM and all that. The value of x is 12. The value of x is 12. And then once you get x, that's the length. And then find the breadth. Yeah, so length is breadth is equal to, you can see it here, 2x, which is 12 into 2 by 3. The value of x is 12, children. The value of x is 12, so it's 2 by 3x or 2 by 3 of 12, which is 8 meters. This is what we were discussing now. This one is what we were discussing now. See here, if one number is x, the other number, you can be specific. You write, let this greater number be x. So the smaller number is x minus 40. The greater number is x. The smaller number is x minus 40. Now, when you're writing the ratio, you can make out 1:3 is the ratio. The ratio is 1:3. 1 is the smaller part, 3 is the larger part. 1 is the smaller part, 3 is the larger part. So you should write the smaller number first and then the larger number. Because the ratio is 1:3. 1 is the smaller part, 3 is the larger part. So this ratio represents the smaller number by the larger number. So the smaller number x minus 40 by the larger number x is equal to 1 by 3. The smaller number x minus 40 divided by the larger number x is equal to 1 by 3. Cross multiply and find the value of x. And once you get x, find the other number. Since you've not tried it, I'll only talk about the 17. I'll talk about question number 18, children. I'll see if 16, if we have time, we'll discuss this today. Else we'll just do 18. Now next class, make sure you've completed the assignment so that we can discuss the remaining sums. And mostly next class, we might start a new chapter. I'll let you know. Please complete the assignment by the next class.
Ma'am, will you send the answer slides in WhatsApp, ma'am?
Yeah, yes. I will be sharing.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am.
Look at the 18th one, children. I think we have time only to discuss this. See the 18th one. Now, before we actually take up the question, now say, let's take the similar situation. So now a boat, all right, a boatsman. Children, I'm not reading the question. I'm telling you something else. Listen to me. A boatsman, all right, a person who rows a boat, a boatsman, say he rows his boat at the rate of 5 kilometers per hour. All right, a boatsman, he rows his boat at a speed of 5 kilometers per hour. And you know that flowing water has a speed. The water in the river, that it flows in a particular speed. Water flows in a particular direction. And flowing water also has speed. Say the speed of the water is 1 kilometer per hour. Now I've told you two things. The speed of the boat is 5 kilometer per hour. And the speed of the water, because flowing water flows in a particular direction. and the water which flows at a particular speed. So let's say the speed of the water is 1 kilometer per hour. The speed of the water is 1 kilometer per hour. Now, when the boatsman rows the boat in the direction of the flowing water, that is, water is flowing in a particular direction, and the boatsman also, he rows the boat in the same direction. Like say you are running, say the wind is blowing heavily. The wind is blowing heavily and you're running in the direction of the wind. The wind is flowing in a particular direction. The wind is blowing in a particular direction and you're also running in the same direction. Then if your speed is 5 and the wind speed is 1, your net speed will be 5 plus 1 because the wind is also pushing you. You're running in the direction of the wind. Your net speed will be 5 plus 1, 6 kilometer per hour. But if you're running in the opposite direction, wind is blowing in a particular direction, you are running in the opposite direction. So you're opposing the speed of the wind. So your net speed is reduced. 5 minus 1, 4 kilometer per hour will be your net speed. I'll come again. Wind is blowing at a speed of say 1 kilometer per hour. Again, wind is flowing, the wind blows in a particular direction and it blows at the speed of 1 kilometer per hour. Now you are running at the speed of 5 kilometers per hour. If you're running in the same direction as the wind is blowing in a particular direction and you're running in the same direction. So your net speed is increased. Your speed 5 plus the wind speed 1, 5 plus 1, 6. You're running faster, meaning you'll be moving faster. 6 kilometer per hour. But if you're trying to oppose the direction of the wind, you're trying to run in the opposite direction of the wind, then the wind will oppose, it will stop you from running faster. So your speed is 5. The speed of the wind is 1. 5 minus 1, 4 only will be your net speed. Do we understand this, children? If you say yes, I can proceed with question number 18.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's just that there are two speeds. One is your speed and the other is the speed of the wind. There are two speeds. One is your own speed and the other is the speed of the wind. If you're running in the same direction as the wind, 5 plus 1, 6. If you're running in the opposite direction, 5 minus 1, 4. Because when you run in the opposite direction, the wind will not help you to run faster. It will stop you from running faster. If you're running along with the wind, it will help you. It will help you to go faster. So 5 plus 1, 6. But if you're running in the opposite direction, wind will oppose your speed. So 5 minus, your net speed will reduce. 5 minus 1, 4. The same thing happens to a boat in water. Now the speed, when we're going downstream meaning, now these two terms, downstream and upstream, is very important. Downstream is when the boat is moving in the same direction as the flowing water. Upstream is, upstream, don't think you're going upstream like, it's not like the boat is moving in a waterfall. Not like that. River only. Don't think upstream means it's going up a waterfall. No, a boat cannot, you cannot row a boat in a waterfall, you'll only be thrown down. It's not a waterfall or something. Don't imagine a waterfall. Don't think up and down the waterfall. No, you cannot row a boat there. This is just a river. It's just a river. The water in the river is flowing in a particular direction. If the boatsman rows the boat in the same direction as the flowing water, the net speed will increase. That is going downstream. Downstream is along the water. Upstream is water is flowing in a particular direction. You are rowing your boat in the opposite direction. That is going upstream. There your speed will be less. Upstream is opposite direction. Downstream is same direction. Downstream is same direction. Now see here, children, a steamer goes downstream. That is downstream meaning in the same direction. The steamer is going in the same direction as the water is flowing. A steamer goes downstream from one point to another in 7 hours. It goes downstream from one point to another in 7 hours. It covers the same distance upstream. That is, it comes back upstream in 8 hours. Yeah, it will take more time to come upstream because upstream the speed will reduce. Because it's the boat is coming in the opposite direction as the flowing water. So the speed will reduce. So it will take a longer time upstream. So to go a particular distance downstream, it takes 7 hours. But to return the same distance upstream, it takes 8 hours. If the speed of the stream is 2 kilometers per hour, if the speed of the stream is 2 kilometers per hour, find the speed of the steamer in still water and the distance between the ports. So let the speed of the steamer in still water be x kilometer per hour. Let the speed of the steamer, that is the boat, be x kilometer per hour. The boat speed alone, the boat speed alone, let it be x kilometer per hour. What is the speed of the water? 2 kilometer per hour. The speed of the boat is x kilometer per hour. The speed of the water is 2 kilometer per hour. So what will be the speed downstream when you're going along the water? X plus 2. The speed of this boat plus the speed of the water. X plus 2. What will be the speed upstream? Opposite direction. Whatever is the speed of the boat minus the speed of the water, because the speed will reduce. So the speed of the boat is x. Water is 2. Stream meaning water. Stream meaning water. Stream means water. Steamer is the boat. Steamer. All right. So the steamer, speed of the steamer is x. The speed of the water is 2. So the speed downstream is along the water will be x plus 2. In the opposite direction, upstream will be x minus 2. Now we all know that distance is speed into time. Do we all know that? Distance is speed into time. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the boat is covered. The boat from one point it goes to the other and it comes back. When it is going downstream. But when it is returning, it's coming upstream. But it's covering the same distance. See, like from home you go to school and from school you return home. The distance between your home and school is the same. The distance is not different. You're going from home to school and you're returning from school to home. Similarly, the boat is going from one point to another point, and from that point it's coming back to the initial point. The distance is the same. Why is it taking different time? Because when it is going first, it's going downstream. Then when it is coming, it's coming upstream. The speed is different. It'll take different time, but the distance is the same. The distance will be the same. So that is the information we are going to use to construct the equation. The distance covered in 7 hours. So it takes 7 hours, right? To go downstream, it takes 7 hours. To go downstream, it takes 7 hours. And how do you find the distance between 2 points? Speed into time. What's the speed downstream? What's the speed downstream? X plus 2. What's the time taken to go downstream? 7 hours. So speed into time will be the distance. So how many kilometers? This is the speed downstream, children, x plus 2 into the time 7. Because you can see here, the time taken to go downstream is 7 hours. The time downstream is 7. So speed x plus 2 into time 7. Speed into time is equal to distance. Distance is equal to speed into time. Speed x plus 2 into 7. What is the speed upstream? Sorry, what will be the distance upstream? The distance upstream will be, again, speed into time. Speed is x minus 2 because the speed upstream is x minus 2 into the time taken. See here, it takes 8 hours. To return upstream, it takes 8 hours. So 8 into x minus 2. See, this is speed. X minus 2 is the speed and time is 8. Both upstream it is. Both upstream. 8 hours upstream. This is the speed upstream, x minus 2. So speed into time will give you the distance. But we know that the distance will be the same. So 7 into x plus 2 is equal to 8 into x minus 2. Because the distance is the same. From one point, it's going to the other downstream. And from the same point, it's coming back to the initial point. So the distance between the two places will be the same. How do you find distance? Speed into time. So speed downstream into the time 7. Speed upstream into the time 8. So this is distance, this is also distance, but the distance will be the same. So 7 into x plus 2 is equal to 8 into x minus 2. On solving this equation, you can get the value of x. And once you get the value of x, what should you answer? Find the speed of the streamer. That is only x. So the speed of the streamer is 30 kilometers per hour. And then you should find the distance between the two ports. The distance between the ports. So what is the distance? You can use any equation, any expression. The distance is 7 into x plus 2. The distance is 7 into x plus 2. Or you can use 8 into x minus 2, anything. So if you use 7 into x plus 2, 7 into x, which is 30 plus 2. So 30 plus 2 is 32 into 7, 224 kilometers. So the distance between the two ports is 224 kilometers. All right, children. So that's it for today's session. Just go through this answer again. I'll share all the answers. Please complete the assignment by the next class. And I'll also discuss question number 17 in the next class. Question number 17 and 16. Nothing else, because the others, you have the videos also. And we have discussed, like most of the types we've done in the class. All this we've done in the class. Yeah. Yes. All that which needed an explanation has been done. Next class, I'll do question number 16. You also try to complete it using the answer here. We'll discuss 16 and 17 in the next class. Please read question number 18. Try to understand better. The equation is formed using distance is the same. The distance from port A to port B will be the same as the distance from port B to port A. Distance is the same. So that is the information used to construct the equation. All right, children. So that's it for today's session. Thank you so much. You may leave the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children.